everyone, welcome to this afternoon update. So we're going to be looking at Invest 95L. That's going to be the main focus of this video. But in addition to it, we also have Invest 94L. So that is the tropical wave being watched for development in the West Caribbean. So as of right now, the formation chance remains at 30%. So it's a low 30% chance of development, and it is going to be heading into the Gulf. So we can see that there is a lot of activity in association with it here on the infrared weather satellite. And those white dots are indicative of lightning strikes. Now, going back to 95L, the main focus of the video. So we'll be looking at the model data and, where is likely to be impacted by the system. But I want to get it straight out there that it is still some days out. Impacts would be early next week, around late Sunday going into Monday, thereabouts. So that is when the system would be approaching the Lesser Antilles. So one thing that is kind of for certain is that there will be impacts in the Lesser Antilles. But in terms of the magnitude of the impacts, that is going to be dependent on the intensity of the system. And, for each location is going to vary, based on the actual track of it as well. So we're going to be looking at some of these different, we're going to be looking at the variables affecting or influencing development rather, and also the model data as it relates to the track of the system that the different models are expecting, and even the intensity of it. So let's first talk about the conditions out there. First, we're looking at this map, and here we can see that there are many vibrant shadings around. So this is a map showing the Saharan air layers. So all of that dry air in association with the Saharan air layer, and this is a mass of dust, dry air, and particles that originate from the Sahara Desert in North Africa, and it is carried westward by the trade winds. Those are the prevailing winds that blow from east to west. So we can see that there is some dry air around for parts of the southeastern Caribbean, and also plentiful out there in the main development region and the North Atlantic on a whole. But there is 95L. We can see that it is not an area that is densely covered with all of that dry air. So as it is going to be drifting generally westward, mind you, it's not going to be going to the northwest. So it's not going to be encountering a whole lot of dry air over the course of the coming days while it approaches the Lesser Antilles. But it's still in that generally dry environment. And sometimes when you have these this dry air seeping into the system, into the circulation of it, it can help out to dissipate some of the activity. We see that happen a lot, but it looks as though it will generally be in a conducive environment, or an environment that is favorable enough to allow for it to actually strengthen, where the dry air won't have too much of a punch on the system. And next we have the sea surface temperatures. We can see here that very, very warm temperatures, 27, 28, 29 degrees Celsius, even a couple spots of 30s around. Now, tropical cyclones require the minimum of 26 degrees Celsius. So we can see here that the sea surface temperatures are well supportive of the system developing and intensifying. So we've got that, and then next we're looking at the upper level winds. Now, the upper level winds, they essentially help to limit intensification by cutting off the thunderstorms as they grow in association with the systems, with our tropical cyclones. So when we have those stronger upper level winds, it is likely that we get these lopsided, these asymmetrical cyclones, because all the activity is displaced and those thunderstorms are being cut off as they grow. So that limits intensification. However, if there are weaker upper level winds up there, then we wouldn't have that much interference when it comes onto these systems developing and intensifying. So this is what the GFS model is predicting. And as we see more of those more vibrant shadings of oranges and reds, that is indicating the stronger upper level winds, or the wind shear. Meanwhile, the yellows, the greens, the blues, and even those white areas especially indicate where the environment would be more conducive in terms of the upper level winds. So we're seeing that out ahead of it, the wind shear may actually relax somewhat to allow it to actually strengthen enough over the course of the coming days. So in all, the environment ahead of the system is conducive, unusually conducive at that, for intensification of it, and we're likely to have a tropical depression or tropical storm by the weekend. And the next name on the list is Beryl. So we had Alberto, and now the next name is Beryl, and it's likely that we will see 95L attaining that name in the coming few days. And also The National Hurricane Center states that interests in the Lesser Antilles should monitor the progress of the system. As I mentioned at the start of the video, there will be impacts, but the impacts, they will vary for each location in the Lesser Antilles. But where is favored for the worst of it? Let's go ahead and take a look at that right now. So we're looking on the model data now. This is the model track guidance. So we have different models out there, and they show the track that they're expecting of the system over the course of the coming days. Now take a look at this. Notice how all of these are tightly packed together. This indicates some decent certainty that, hey, this will be moving generally westward, and it is going to be entering the Caribbean. Notice that there's a bit of dispersion as we head further out in time, as the system would make its way across the Eastern Caribbean, headed to the Central Caribbean. So there is some uncertainty there further out, but for the coming few days, it is going to maintain a general westward track. So again, it's going to be moving into an environment with those favorable upper level winds, as well as the bulk of all that dry air will remain north of it. That will allow it the opportunity to strengthen. And then the water temperatures are well on their way, very warm, very much supportive of it to intensify. And actually, the models do show something quite concerning for the Lesser Antilles. So the Windward Islands are favored now for potential landfall, or where the system is going to be moving. So let's think of this scenario real quick. So let's say that the system does go on this general trajectory to the west. And let's say that you're located in Guadeloupe. It doesn't mean that you're not going to feel anything at all. It doesn't mean, okay, I'm safe. Or even if you're in Dominica or Martinique, it doesn't mean that, oh, I'm safe from this. You could be, and that would be great. But if the system is extensive, if it is large and sustaining a large area of showers and thunderstorms, it could actually be widespread for the majority of the Lesser Antilles. So that would include the Leeward Islands, parts of the Leeward Islands, the Windward Islands. It all depends on how compact the system is going to be. So as I said, the models are showing something quite interesting as it relates to the intensity. Let's go on to that. Here's the latest intensity guidance. Now, we can see here that we've got, as I said, all these different models, and we can see these different shadings. We have that green shading representative of tropical storm intensity. Above that is the yellow shading indicating Category 1 hurricane strength. So that is winds of at least 74 miles per hour. Then we have Category 2 in orange, Category 3 in red, and that is where we start major hurricane status. Then we have Cat 4 in purple, Cat 5 in lilac. So the further up we see these lines go indicates a higher intensity. So whichever shading it is in, that is the intensity expected at that time. And for the time, we've got the forecast hour going out. So there we have 12 hours from now, 24 hours from now, 48 hours from now. So we go out in time, and we can see that these different models here, they generally go up. So gradual intensification is expected of the system, and the bulk of them are expecting that, hey, this could be a hurricane. If you expected major hurricane status from this system, I'm not saying it will be a major hurricane, but it is what some of the models are expecting. So I think it is certainly going to be a dangerous situation, and very soon we will see some watches being posted very, very soon with the system, maybe in the next 1 or 2 days. But it is going to be bringing its impacts, the strong winds, the storm surge, the heavy rainfall. And so I do urge you, if you're in the Lesser Antilles, especially the Windward Islands, so areas such as Martinique southward through Trinidad and Tobago, definitely keep a close eye and make any necessary preparations. It could be to trim any trees in your home, which, in the case of strong winds, they may blow off and cause some damage. We don't want that. So if you can, to trim those, and to even have your important files and documents in something that is safe, reachable, waterproof as well, and also to have an emergency kit. That is also essential. And I'm just urging you guys to be prepared. And then other areas such as Jamaica should be on watch for the middle of next week, because we do see that the models take the system within the area. We'll see how it goes though, because that is like a week out from now, so there are bound to be some changes. But my channel is here to keep you posted as per usual. So that is basically it for this afternoon update video. So I really do hope that you found it to be quite informative. And if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. I will respond to you when I get the chance to do so. And remember to always be weatherwise.